Hey there folks, this is GreenyXI welcoming you right back to Let's Play Umineko. This is episode 134. In the last episode, we wrapped up the Halloween party and Angie fell asleep, getting 9 medals out of, I don't know, what was it, 14, 15, whatever, because one or two characters just grouped together, didn't they? We didn't do all of them, because we couldn't. We couldn't do Battlers and Beatrices. So she went to sleep after everyone was sort of apologising to her, saying goodbye to her, ready for their inevitable death on the island. So, after putting Angie to sleep in the parlour, Genji and the others returned. Thanks. Was she sleeping well? Yes. She was sleeping peacefully. The noise from here won't reach the parlour, right? That's right. The door is closed, so I don't think it'll reach. Angie, sweet dreams. Well then, that's enough solemn farewells. Let's begin the magnificent festivities we have planned for the after party. What? When Beetle clapped her hands loudly above her head, a white flash filled the hall, and its entire appearance changed in an instant. The hall had transformed into a golden party chamber, with gold butterflies flitting about and gold leaf dancing everywhere. Yes, the true party shall now begin. You said it. Okay, the anti-magic toxin is totally gone. Everyone, come on in. The party after the show is about to start. All the witches and stuff coming in. With a burst of applause and cheering, a tornado of gold butterflies rose up in the centre of the room. By the time it passed, the number of faces had grown significantly. Who's coming? Who's coming? Hello. Let the witch of the future find happiness, and let us of the past be rewarded for our efforts, yes? Indeed. Let's enjoy ourselves as well. Come on, haven't we been enjoying ourselves the whole time? Go. In this world, the one who enjoys the most is the true winner. Come, let's have the 7 sisters over here too. The 7 sisters of Purgatory, right here. Can't believe the game's finally over. Wow. What do you think you're doing crying at the after party? You little crybaby. Lord Battler, Beatrice-sama, thank you for the invitation. I want to see 6-year-old Angie-sama's sleeping face and have it all to myself. I want to see the food and have it all to myself. Then I want a hot guy to have all to myself. Why are you clinging to Battler when you say that? Stop, thief. Glad to see you, 7 sisters of Purgatory. Enjoy yourselves. Ah yes, things do get much noisier the moment they enter a room. And what's so terrible about that? In fact, it still isn't nearly noisy enough. Another gold cyclone rose up. In its wake, 3 people with bunny ears came into view. Chester Sisters Imperial Guards right here. It's such an honour to be summoned to a gathering such as this. I haven't had nearly enough fun for it to end yet, yeah? There, I agree with you. But fear not, for our game shall continue much longer than this. For eternity, inside the cat box. Glad to have you here, Chester Sisters. Lord Battler, allow me to express our deep gratitude for your invitation. In the future, we will endeavour to show even more. Come on, don't be so stiff and formal. Tonight, we're all equal. That's right, yeah. Battler gets it, yeah? Stop it, 410. You're getting carried away. We'll get in trouble. Hey there, Richie. Long time no see. Wow, how long it's been since we've had so many of us here. Not since Natsui's trial, right? And you could hardly call that a party. If you're talking about a party, you better not try and leave us out of it. Dang, just how many of them are there? If they keep coming like this, there'll be more of them than us humans. You can come out now, Sakataro. Who are you? Lord Battler, it was an honour to receive your invitation. Let it be known that it is an honour. Hey, glad you came. It's been a long time. How have you been? Very well, thank you. Fighting with you all is always extremely fun. I've had enough of stamping documents. Commander Delana, know that your to-do box is piling up as we speak. Please make haste with the approval of our vacation papers. They're exceedingly important. Sounds like living in the Great Court is as boring as ever. Lord Battler, I fear I must bring you some sad news. What is it? Lana held out an envelope. It was one of the invitation cards that Battler had handed out for this night's party. The name on the card was Frodo Erica. She's not coming? We did all we could. The invitation was filled with stamps bearing the unreadable words of various foreign countries. Even without reading them, it was easy to guess that it had been returned to sender, destination unknown. I see. Thanks for trying so hard. The depths of oblivion are like an empty, endless desert, or perhaps the bottom of the sea. No one besides Lady Bernkastel herself could find her location. I did send invitations to those witches too. We'll have to hope they have the kindness to bring her along. Lady Bernkastel's just like a cat. She'll show up whenever she feels like it, but when she isn't in the mood, she'll never come no matter how often you call her. Yeah, that kid's totally like a cat. She'll come to get her food, but she won't let you pet her head. Lambda Delta. So you came. Believe it or not, I'm a busy person, okay? Still, I am Beto's guardian. Wasn't I your guardian too? Well, anyway, I came because it's my responsibility. I happened to be in the neighbourhood, so I stopped by. Hey you, Goda. I brought some presents. Could you just put these wherever for me? For someone who just dropped by because she was in the neighbourhood, she brought an awful lot of presents, which included colourfully wrapped bottles and food boxes. Bernkastel isn't here yet. Really think she'd come? She's not the kind of kid who just dropped by to say hi at a game she's lost. Probably. After all, she's very proud. I seem to remember her putting us through hell. But she's still one of the players in this game. I thought it'd be good to have her over to celebrate the final night of the final game. You're right. Without that kid, this game might not have reached its conclusion. Enemies and allies are the bare minimum you need for a game. True. Without a foe, there could be no game. At least I can enjoy defeat as just another part of the game. That kid can't. It's too bad, but she's been through a lot. Too bad. So please, don't blame her too harshly. Actually, I was planning to thank her. A lot of crazy stuff happened, but thanks to her, we were able to make it to where we are today. Thanks. I don't know when I'll see her next, but if I'm lucky, I'll get my chance in a few 100 years. I'll let her know what you said. Ah, that's right. They don't have invitations, but I brought 2 guests with me. Guests? Who? Pretty sure I sent invitations to all the usual suspects. Come on over, you two. I'll introduce you. We get new characters now. Oh. When Lambda snapped her fingers, the empty air exploded and 2 forms appeared. If it isn't Willard. Hey, I see you're as short as ever. Now here are some unfamiliar guests. Who are they? Ow, don't pinch my ass. Shouldn't we be introducing ourselves first? I'm fairly certain the Battlecoon and the others in this world don't know about us. You have the mark of the one-winged eagle on your clothes. You're an Ashurmaya? My name is Ashurmaya Leon. In my world, we're cousins. I'll introduce Leon. This is the successor to the Ashurmaya family headship, born only in a world of extremely low probability. In that world, Jessica isn't an only child. She's Leon's little sister. Now there's a surprise. So there's a world like that? Wait, we couldn't be. Pleased to meet you, Beatrice. I know quite a lot about you. I am you. Seeing you smiling happily is the greatest joy I can imagine. I'm as glad as anyone else that you've made it to this point. Is it her son? I can't remember. I see. So it's you. I'm glad you're here. Beto realised who and what Leon was. The two of them stared at each other's faces as though looking at their own face in a mirror. Well, that's the name. I'm just a passing stranger who got caught up in a game you know nothing about. He's an inquisitor of heresy from the Great Court like myself. A truly skilled one, though he is now retired. I see. If you're Lana's friend, you can't be anyone bad. Please make yourself at home. Just where did these two come from? Bern brought them in and made them pieces. When she was done with them and about to crush them, I picked them up. However, said leaving them there would leave a bad aftertaste. Is that okay? If by chance Lady Bernkastel does drop by here, on this game board, they're my pieces, okay? And I can't wait to see excuse me. Can't wait to see the look on that kid's face when she bumps into them in a place like this. I don't really get it, but you obviously brought them here for some shady reason. That's all for my gifts. I'll just hang around for the rest. I'm leaving the rest to you, the host. Come, Lord Battler. If you don't announce it, we can't start. Can't start what? The start of tonight's party at the end of this long, long game. Ladies and gentlemen, your silence please. Our territory lord, Lord Battler, has a message he wishes to convey to you all. Enough of that. It's embarrassing. Come on, it's a wife's responsibility. I'm not letting anyone else take it. Vito sulked and handed Battler a glass of champagne. Come to think of it, everyone had a glass in their hands now. Maria, you're a kid, so drink some sparkling cider instead. Oh, I want champagne too. Hey Maria-chan, why don't we drink some sparkling cider together? Oh, okay then. Battler, our drinks are getting warm. Agreed. Begin, Battler. No objections, I see. This way, please, Lord Battler. Ronve motioned towards the centre of the room. When Battler stepped forward, everyone silently awaited his words. Glad you all could make it. This marks the end of my long game with Beto. I've invited everyone who's been a part of this game as a piece, a player, or game master. I hope you'll enjoy this unending night to the fullest. Cheers! Cheers! Everyone raised their glasses to the heavens as they cheered, and afterward, the soft sound of glasses clinking together rang out across the room. I don't get where the story is going to go from here. Is there a big twist coming or something? Only I was apart from all that fun noise. Maybe that was what did it. Before I realised it, my cheeks were wet with tears. I was lying on the sofa, covered by a blanket. I can just barely remember getting sleepy and falling asleep in a chair. Someone probably carried me here. I can't actually hear them, but I get the feeling that everyone's still in the hall, having a good time. I want to go there too. No, I will go. Over there. It's what I wanted all along, but I never took the first step. I'll go to where everyone is. My head still feels hazy, so there aren't any complicated thoughts in my mind. But that's okay. It's okay if my head's empty. I'll be together with everyone. I'll go to where they are. That's all that matters. I got up from the sofa and put on my shoes. Let's go! To where everyone is. The parlour door was shut. I tried to open it, but maybe because of my clumsiness, I couldn't get it open. It was a bit creepy, as though the bad dream I just had was still going on. It won't open. Why? It isn't even locked. My mood grew darker and darker. The knob that locks or unlocks the door is on this side. If I twist it, I should be able to lock or unlock it. I turned it. Click. The door won't open. Did I accidentally lock it just now? I turned it. Click. The door won't open. It didn't open the last time, so it should have opened this time. I don't have a clue how I'm supposed to turn it to unlock the door. I kept on alternating between turning the lock and roughly twisting the doorknob. I began to get irritated, wondering why they'd locked me away behind such an inconvenient door. Eventually I ran out of patience and pounded hard on the door, but that noise didn't bring anyone to me. Why am I locked up in a place like this, all alone? Everyone else is having a fun party right there in the hall. Let me out of here. At that moment a cold wind blew past me. The wind rippled through my hair. Wind? Inside? I turned around to find the window curtain waving about. There was a sound like scraping or crying. At some point, the double window had opened outwards towards the darkness. The icy wind that came through it told me that this window was the only exit from this room. Huh? Cats! I suddenly realised that the darkness beyond the open window was glaring at me, and my heart leapt. A cute sound rang out. I finally understood. That sound was a cat's bell. The glaring emerald eyes in the darkness were those of a cat standing in the open window, so something to do with Bernkastel, right? Its pitch black, luxuriant fur left only the eyes visible, blending in with the darkness easily. Did the Ashurmai family own a cat? It has a bell on it, so it can't be a stray. It's a cat someone owns. At any rate, the cat was standing by the window and staring straight at me. Who are you? Of course the cat didn't answer my question. I didn't think it was a cute cat, but I thought it might be trying to tell me something. So I approached it slowly. As I did, the cat did an about face, turning its back to me. Then it turned its head to look at me, almost as though it was telling me to follow it. And it leapt down into the darkness, leaving the jingle of its bell behind. When I peeked out the window, I saw the cat waiting for me under the pounding rain. I finally realised. This window was the only exit out of this closed room parlour. The cat must have come to tell me that. The longer I kept standing around here, the longer the cat will have to wait in the rain. That's no good. It'll catch cold. I climbed up onto the windowsill and went out the window. The wind was strong and the rain was cold, but I didn't get as wet as I thought I would. I might have been in the mansion's shadow. When the cat saw that I was outside, it walked along the wall of the mansion as if guiding me. It quickly disappeared into the blackness, but every now and then it would turn around and set the bell jingling to let me know it was there. Eventually a window with light seeping out came into view. It was the window to the hall. When I peeked inside, I saw everyone having a good time. I couldn't hear their voices, but they were all right there. Open up! Open up! I pounded on the window, but no one heard. Maybe the window was really thick, or maybe it was just noisy inside. Or it might have been so dark outside that I blended in with the darkness. In any event, no matter how much I hit the window, it didn't look as though anyone noticed. By this point, my loneliness was giving way to anger. Why don't he notice me? Why did he lock me up in this room, all alone? I've had enough. I'll get inside somehow and yell at everyone. When the cat realised that I had given up knocking on the window, it led me onwards with another jingle. But just where's this cat going? I know it's following the wall of the mansion. That's not the way to the front door. The front door might be locked. I'm sure the cat knows a way into the mansion and is leading me there. Away from the lights seeping from the hall, and towards the blackness lit only dimly by the lights in the garden, the cat and I continued to walk. Then I found it. An open window. The cat stood below it and looked between me and the window as though telling me to go inside. Thanks, kitty. I'd like to give you some milk to thank you. Won't you come with me? When I walked closer to pick the cat up, it slipped away from my hands and flew into the bushes in a nearby flower bed. Then, as though it really had melted away into the darkness inside the bush, all traces of it vanished. No matter how much I strained my ears, I couldn't hear the sound of that bell. Suddenly the wind changed directions, and the rain started to hit me fiercely. I can't stay in a place like this forever. I'll go inside. What room is this, I wonder? I climbed up onto the windowsill and entered the room. Then the window silently shut and locked itself. Good, that saves me the trouble of doing it myself. The room was completely dark. However, as my eyes got used to the darkness, I was able to make out a few things. It was a large room. There was a long table and many chairs. It was the dining hall. Perhaps because I realised this and relaxed, it quickly became hard for me to make out details. I searched blindly along the wall for the light switch. Then finally, I felt a familiar shape. Wouldn't it be annoying if I pushed this and the light didn't come on? Click. In fact, it was nearly the opposite, and an annoyingly bright light filled the dining hall and made my eyes hurt. I slowly opened my tightly shut eyes, and then I saw the state of the room was in. The dining hall was covered with blood. Here and there were humans lying on the floor. Then I realised that two of the people were my own parents. Is Rika playing around, trying to disrupt the happiness? Is that what's happening? Let me have a drink a sec. Alright. You're having a great time, people. If anyone's not having a good time, we're gonna eat you. Yell and sing the praises of tonight's banquet. Ha! The hall was alive with a mingling of humans and the magical illusions who lived on this island. At first everyone stayed with their own groups, too nervous to mingle. However, as time passed, people started to move around and both halves began to chat happily together. But they just never listened, do they? Leadership's important. You need to lead by example if you want anyone to follow you. Maybe some subordinates are like that, but I've never had any success with ordinary methods. Anyway, you're done for if your subordinates don't take you seriously. It's important to scold people loudly, even for small mistakes, every once in a while, in front of everyone else. You can't do that, it'll just make everyone scared. A leader has to be an example for everyone to follow. If you really want to be a leader... Everyone listened intently to the Vegeta Lion's theory on leadership. This was after several rounds of drinks had gone by, and everyone was unnaturally focused on the conversation. Kyrie, why'd you get stronger the more jealous you are? Don't make it sound so bad. If I want something, I won't let it slip away. I always put that theory into practice. There's nothing more to it. Thanks for waiting, everyone. Even more food's on the way. Nah. Butting in on a family party like this. And yet, while I hate to admit it, every movement of this is flawless. Just what sort of hotel did he train at? Too bad Runaway-sama just happens to be totally perfect. But I still love Gouda more. This one's been cooked just right. The 7 sisters have blended into the party perfectly, and they were making things interesting. And yet, many great mysteries are called masterpieces despite being shut down by Van Dyne's 20 rules. It's not like I'm trying to shut down anything. Mystery novels exist for the sake of your own amusement. If you have fun, that's all that matters. Know that even the great wizard hunting rite has gone quite soft. Whether it's literature or forms of amusement, generally accepted rules change with the times. It must be the same with mystery novels, yes? Everyone chimed in on Will's theory of mystery novels. There's no shortage of things to talk about. Yes, that's a fitting attitude for a beginner. However, at that rate, you'll never become a key player in your organisation. But know that the regulations are always to be enforced. That's something for newbies to do. Don't forget, the regulations and rules are pretty much guidelines for the new guys who don't know any better. You said it. You can't really call yourself an adult until you learn how to move outside the rules. You're still a kid if you let the rules hold you back. I can't stand letting other people do the work. I'm mammon of greed. I'll do all the jobs myself. That's some spirit you got there. How much are they paying you for being a sister of purgatory? Come get a job at my husband's business instead. I'll recommend you personally. The humans and the illusions were now very much on casual terms. I see, so this is how it's done in the world of witches. Yeah, you got it now. Where we come from, you pour the tea onto the saucer, press your palms on the table, and slurp it up like a dog now. What the hell are you teaching her? Who does that? And Natsui, what do you think you're doing, getting tricked like that, and at your age? Get away from her, Satan. How can you be so rude to Natsui-san? Huh? Why are you crying, Satan? Was I too hard on you? Just a 410-san, please stop giving me my pure and trusting mother such crazy ideas. Don't worry, I won't leave a mark. 410 started yelling about animal abuse, jumping around in circles and holding her butt. I wonder if there's a prince out there for me. I want to have some hot, passionate love. If I found love, could I become a beautiful princess too? Of course. Love is a miracle, power, a mineral. It grants you invincible strength. Is that the person who once claimed that love equals lust, I hear? Indeed. It would seem she's getting her fill every night. Slag. Shut up, you perverts. The circle surrounding Peter was always a lively one. Yeah, I know how you feel. It's only when we're given orders that we find meaning in our lives. I get nervous when I don't have any orders. Someone order me to do something, or I'll die. Can't have that attitude. You gotta find your own meaning for your life, cut your own path. That's right. Your resolve has to be certain and absolute, okay? Back when I was human, I lived like a daredevil all the time. A bit shakily, Lambda Delta started talking about her theory of life. Apparently she'd also had her fair share of champagne. What a bizarre scene. Yeah, I guess so. Lana-sama, would you like some more to drink? Something non-alcoholic? After all, I'm a kid. Shannon-chan will do. Do you have a second? Battler came back into the hall. He was searching for a servant, and the first one his eyes met was Shannon. Of course, Battler-sama. Do you need something? Sorry, but would you mind lending me the key to the parlour? The parlour? I can get you in with a master key, but why? No, I was just wondering if Angie was asleep, so I went over there. The door was locked. Locked? After we carried Angie-sama to the sofa, we shut the door, but we didn't lock it. Oh, don't tell me that Angie... She must have felt like she was being left out of the fun and locked the door from the inside in a huff. Silly kid. Should we unlock it then? Yeah, if you don't mind. Sorry about the trouble. Battler and Shannon left the hall together. In the hall, Lambda Delta started suggesting that they all have another quiz tournament together. Apparently the Witcher Certainty would be handing out prizes. Everyone seemed enthusiastic about the idea. Smiling contentedly at the ensuing uproar, Battler headed towards the parlour. Yeah, they can carry on with that quiz. We've had enough questions. Really is locked. Should I open it? She was sleeping, so I didn't knock on the door, but if she locked it, that proves she woke up. Let's try knocking once. Battler knocked on the door and called Angie's name. However, there was no response from the other side. He pressed his ear against the door, listening carefully, but there was no hint of Angie unhappily throwing a cushion at it. She might have fallen asleep again after having her little tantrum. Could you open it for me? As you wish. Shannon took out her master key and unlocked the door. Then she stepped back to let Battler go through. Angie, I'm coming in. Speaking a quiet voice to avoid waking Angie if she was asleep, Battler opened the door. Then just as the door was opened, a chilly breeze drifted by. The breeze, which felt like outside air, immediately caught the attention of the pair, and they looked at each other. It could be seen at a glance that Angie wasn't in the parlour. The curtains on the wide-open window fluttered about. Angie? Angie? A blanket lay crumpled up on the sofa. It sat there just as Angie had left it after waking up. The blanket was slightly warm. Clearly she had been here until a short while ago. Angie-sama? You there? She obviously wasn't playing hide-and-seek. Angie was nowhere to be seen in the parlour. Battler peered out the open window into the rainy blackness, so she slipped out the window in this rain and went where? Do you think Angie-sama might have gone out the window? That'd make her one hell of a sleepwalker. She couldn't have left from the main entrance, so she probably doesn't have an umbrella. It's very hard to imagine a reason Angie might have for going outside in this weather. I have a bad feeling about this. This shouldn't be happening. I'm the game master of this game board. So why are we in a situation that the game master can't understand? A large bolt of lightning lit up the surrounding area for an instant, but I was unable to see any trace of Angie. Okay, now it's my turn to think of a question. Okay, so you have a third of a cake, a quarter of a cake, and a fifth, all on a plate. It takes 30 minutes to eat one whole cake, so how much is left on the plate when you finished eating? At that moment, there was a roar of thunder, and the lights flickered. The cheery voices vanished in an instant, like candles being blown out. None. That's a riddle you were tricked with once, isn't it? Amidst the silence, one voice rang out and answered Lambda's riddle. Hello? The crowd parted, and the form of a girl, a 1,000-year-old witch, came into view. She had been invited. She was an official guest, holding an invitation to this party. Sorry I'm late. I was busy planning some festivities to liven up the party. As Bernkastel spoke, she looked around at everyone. Oh, and I thought you two were rotting away in the fragment sea. They're my pieces now. Pretty cool, right? She stared at Leon and Will with an unnerving smile on her face, but she seemed to lose interest. Where's Battler and Beto? I'm a guest, aren't I? Isn't there anyone to welcome me in? I'm here. We did invite you, but I didn't expect you to actually come. I see. This must truly be a miracle. Now that's an interesting way to put it. Why'd everyone get so quiet? This is a party, right? Go ahead and be noisy just for the hell of it. Or is you welcoming me with silence part of some kind of joke? Now it's your turn. My turn for what? You asked where Battler was, so I told you I was here. Now it's your turn. What are you talking about? Did something happen? Angie's gone. Even I, the game master, don't know where she went. That's insane. Isn't this your game? That doesn't make sense. If Angie disappearing isn't a scenario created by Battler, that means there must be another game master. Is that even possible? Oh yes, I was surprised myself. Just when I opened the game board to start a delightful game of my own, I found that Battler had started up this bizarre game at the same time. I never thought I'd be in a game with two game masters. In other words, you're admitting that you hid Angie away somewhere? It would seem so. After all, no one could introduce a scenario you didn't build, except another game master. So is this one of those festivities to liven up the party that you mentioned? You all looked like you were having a blast without that quiz tournament. So I decided I wanted to join in. And you chose to hold Angie hostage for that purpose? You got it. Battler, Beto, I want to challenge you to a game. You cannot refuse. Not if you treasure Angie as a little sister, that is. What do you want? Lambda and I made a bet about the game between you and Beto. I must acknowledge that I've lost. At least, that I've lost to Lambda. Bern tries to act all dry, but she's way more persistent than she looks. So you're saying you lost to me, but not to Battler and Beto? It seemed as though Bernkastel might smile. However, she didn't. Those cold eyes spoke without words. Battler understood. He had played so many games against Beto. Those games had been a wordless message from Beto. So he knew. He understood. She wants to fight us. Is that it? She will be a fearsome opponent. But we can't back out. I know that. We mustn't let Angie become Lady Bernkastel's plaything. Beto understood as well. She understood why Bernkastel was asking for one final battle. I never thought I'd see Bern fighting openly like this. Do you find that funny? Why would I? Thanks. Lambda Delta understood as well. Before the tale of Battler and Beto ended, before everything was locked away in a cat box, Bernkastel would finally move from the audience to the stage. That witch who had hidden off to the side of the stage, unwilling to come out into the light, would now show that she had the courage to step forward onto the stage itself. As a friend, Lambda Delta showed that she understood Bernkastel's human emotions, which had given her this courage. Is there anything I can do? Please act as an observer for my game. Sure. If you promise that you'll release Angie if we take part in your game, that is. Of course. Without such a promise, we aren't obligated to go along with this farce in any way. You may not owe me anything, but you'll never see Angie again. In that case, you can enjoy being branded as a loser for the next few centuries. Beto, don't provoke her. This isn't a fight we can back down from. Indeed. Now that a hostage had been taken, the ability to negotiate had disappeared. However, Lambda Delta was agreeing to become an observer if that would make Bernkastel promise to release Angie. Unless she held Bernkastel to a promise like that, the latter would have nothing to lose. To make this final fight, Bernkastel wanted a proper one. Lambda Delta made her agree to this. Of course, Lambda, I promise. When the game ends, I'll release Angie. Don't make a fool of me, okay? When I get shamed, I never let go of the one who did it until they regret it. Lambda Delta spoke in a soft, threatening tone. However, Bernkastel laughed lightly as though the look on Lambda Delta's face was merely cute. I swear it. I swear it on our friendship. Phew. Lambda Delta whistled and grinned. Apparently this was the most reliable oath Bernkastel could utter. Okay. Lambda Delta nodded, looked between Battler and Bernkastel, and spoke. By the name of Lambda Delta, Witch of Certainty, I accept the role of observer for your fight. Battler, Beto, you have no objections, right? Battler and Beto nodded at each other, then nodded at Lambda Delta to show their determination. I'm so glad. We finally get to fight each other. I had a feeling I'd end up fighting you sooner or later. Since when? I'm not sure. It might have been before I even learned your name. Battler vaguely remembered her speaking to him, somewhere in an unconscious world he couldn't recall. At the time, it had sounded like she was giving him advice for his fight with Beto. But thinking back on it, there was a bit more to it than that. She might have been a cat fighting from the sidelines, too scared to go out into the bright sunlight. So I had a vague premonition that eventually we would stand up opposed to each other on the game board in some way. She was also one of the players. Now at the very end, as the game board is being put away, she's finally found the courage to step up onto the stage. I'd like to accept your brave challenge. In the name of that courageous girl who was once your piece. I forced Erica to fight a duel. I wanted to win. And even more strongly, I didn't want to lose. The fear of possibly tasting defeat tormented me. And thinking back on it, I envied you two back then. Erica was a great piece of yours, and my rival. I won't forgive you for abandoning her in the end and burying her in the depths of oblivion. Is this what you want me to do? Apologise to Erica? Save Erica from the depths of oblivion, and invite her to this party. Save Erica? I feel the same as Battler. She was a piece who stood in opposition to us, but she was only faithfully fulfilling her role. There can be no game without a rival. She remains our enemy, but she's also an important friend to us. Even though she made you suffer so much, we fought a fair fight. The outcome may have changed our fates, but now that we've duelled each other, we'll always be friends. You want to be their friend too, don't you, Bern? That's why you want a fair fight with them now, isn't it? You laughing at me? We aren't. On the contrary, we welcome it. Even though I've taken a hostage. If you didn't, you probably wouldn't have been able to come up onto the stage. There had been no need to take a hostage. Battler and Beto had been more than willing to accept this final duel if Bernkastel wished it. It was hard to make out anything from Bernkastel's silent expression. Fine. What's fine? I'll release Erica from the depths. I'm glad you decided to do this. For someone as proud as Bernkastel, forgiving the peace who had caused her defeat should have been nearly unbearable. Battler knew this, so he realised how much this bit of compassion had cost Bernkastel. Bernkastel snapped her fingers and a black cat slipped out of her shadow. I tossed her all the way into the deepest parts of oblivion. It might take her a while to get here. It matters not. There's no danger of the food and drink running out. Go, kitty. Guide that kid here. When she gave the order, the cat melted into the darkness, its bell jingling. I can hardly believe that you'd forgive Erica. I don't plan on forgiving her, so she's not my piece anymore. Anyone feel like picking her up? After all, you already picked up Leon and Will. Bernkastel, you have my thanks. Okay, enough with the sentimentality. I've already had as much as I can bear. Sure. Where will we have the game? As far as I care, we could have it here with all the noise, or in the usual quiet spot. Lady Bernkastel has already shown that she has the courage to stand before a great many people. There's no point in making her suffer any longer. Good point. Then let's go to the usual place. Any objections, Bern? None. Sorry, partygoers. We'll be heading out for a bit, but please continue to enjoy yourselves. Zeppa, Furfur, liven this place up. When Erica gets here, let's have everyone give her a warm welcome. Yes, Lady Lambda Delta. Your wish is our command. Now then, let's take her to the usual room, a fitting place for our battle of wits. When Battler snapped his fingers, space shattered. And away we go. They were now in the smoking area of the witches, the place where witches had once debated, schemed, reasoned all they could. Bernkastel had been invited there once again, and the final game would now begin. Do you have a game prepared? Of course. I worked hard on this game, and I'm pretty proud of it. So, Bern will be the game master, and Battler and Beto will be the players. I'm interested to see what sort of scenario Lady Bernkastel develops. We'll explain things with the blue truth, and you'll knock those down with the red truth. Are we okay with those rules? My game will be a simpler one. It's just a quiz of guessing the culprit. I don't feel like trading red and blue with you. Oh? What kind of game will that be? Would you mind letting me have a look at it first? Bernkastel held her palm upwards, and a palely glowing fragment appeared there. Lambda Delta brushed it with her hand and shut her eyes. See? It's a simple game, isn't it? You're right. It's much more straightforward than the mind games these two played in the past. This isn't even a game about witches and humans anymore. That's right. This is a game about humans. What a surprise. The game Bern created to combat Beto's fantasy is a genuine mystery. Please explain. It's extremely simple. You'll watch the tale Bern has prepared for you. There are several rules to it, but if you follow them as you read it through, it'll lead you to a single truth, in other words, an answer. So it's an ordinary mystery novel? I see. In that case, there's no need for combat between red and blue truth. In Beto's games, the argument had been about whether the story was a mystery or not. However, Bernkastel's game was a mystery. There was no need to argue over that from the start. I've even cut out the motive and the tricks. There's only one question I'm asking you. Who done it? What a simple yet fitting game to conclude our fight. No cheap tricks. Just a stoically simple game. This is a genuine duel. As the observer, I'll say this. This game is made to be solvable. In other words, I guarantee that it's a suitable setting for your duel. Bern, I know I keep on saying this, but are you really sure? Battler and Beto's relationship started because they both loved mystery. I agree it's a pretty tricky scenario, but I'm not sure it'll be enough to stop these two. My best tale can't stop them, then what comes will come. The important thing is that Lady Bernkastel put everything she had into this game. You're right. Will that be enough to stump us? That's all this simple game is about. Thanks, Lambda. Thanks to you, we know that this duel will be a fair fight. You're welcome. I'm happy too. It'll be an honour to witness Bern fight in this precious fight. I'm also honoured to have you as an opponent. Same here. I underestimated you, and I did it without even stepping onto the battlefield with you. Just thinking about it makes me want to vomit. So let me fight. Indeed. Show us what you got. If I win, I'll be able to look down on you for real this time. If I lose, I'll surely be reminded of the emotion I know I've forgotten. Indeed. Bernkastel, whether you end up winning or losing, I promise you one thing. What's that? When this duel is over, we'll be friends. Enough of that, please. The sentimentality is killing me. Lambda clapped her hands. A pleasant sound rang out. Will you be the reader, Bern? Or shall I do that? I don't need a reader. Huh? A reader, Miko, can use her own voice to embellish or distort the tale. Even if there was no cheap trickery in my game, by having a reader, any amount of trickery could be added. Yes, that's true. That's another of the Game Master's privileges. I want to have a straightforward duel with you. So I don't need a reader. You can read this tale with your own eyes and ears. You sure? That means you've lost almost all of your advantages. Understood. You don't need a reader. We'll read the tale ourselves. If there's no reader, does that mean there will be absolutely no falsehoods contained in the narrated text? We're ready, Bernkastel. A showdown over a genuine mystery without any cheap tricks. If you're going to play fair and square, we'll challenge you head on too. Thank you. And I don't plan on losing either. No. That's no good, Lady Bern. She's right. If you're a witch challenging us with a mystery, you can't have an attitude like this. Yeah, it's all useless. Bernkastel, realising what Battler and Beta were asking for, snorted. Lambda Delta nodded at her, telling her to enjoy this final duel to the fullest. What were you expecting? A happy mystery chat between humans and witches? Come on, don't make me laugh. Let's see if your cheery mysteries are any match for the one I've prepared. Let's see what you got. We wouldn't have it any other way. Yes, we'll accept the challenge, Lady Bernkastel, Witch of Miracles. Alright, time to start. I, Game Master Shurmaya Battler, and Beatrice, the Endless Witch, will be your opponents. Don't start crying when we wipe the floor with you. Take this, here's my mystery. Bernkastel took a fragment containing the game and smashed it against the table, shattering it with a brilliant light as the game scenario laid itself out. The curtain rose on the mystery Bernkastel had created. One final game. Oh, okay. We're starting it without... I thought it might have been the end of the part then. No sound but that of the falling rain filled the room. It covered the tragic scene in the bloody dining hall. At some point, Angie had fainted and fallen to the floor. Now her consciousness was slowly returning, forcing her to remember what had happened in this room, so she reflexively averted her gaze even before the memory overtook her. 6 bodies lay in the blood-stained dining hall. Strangely enough, as her consciousness returned bit by bit, the terrifying scene before her seemed somehow less intense. This time Angie was able to look at the 6 corpses well enough to make out who they were. First, those are my own parents, like she said before. They were a pitiful sight, coloured bright red by a bloody makeup. And lying next to them are Uncle Hideyoshi and Aunt Eva. Eva! Uncle Hideyoshi, the uncle who always says funny things and makes me laugh. Aunt Eva, the aunt who seems to be so fond of me. Genji-san, the servant, is lying over there. And the one lying right here is Aunt Rosa. So a lot of the adults. 6 people. A full 6 people had their lives taken from them and are lying in this room. Maybe I cried myself out before I fell unconscious. The scene before me was still terribly painful, but I was somehow able to look at it without losing my head. I'd already felt all the sadness I could at my parents' deaths. The next emotion that rose up inside me was the desire to check and see that everyone else was okay. In that instant, I heard a scraping sound. Just as I was about to relax again, thinking I must have imagined it, I heard the same sound again. It was probably coming from the door. Someone was clawing at the door from the outside. Of course, I had no way of knowing who it was. However, for some reason, I was sure that it was that black cat scratching at the door. The black cat was telling me to leave this room. I understood and put my hand on the doorknob. I immediately noticed something odd. The door was locked. The same bad feeling I'd felt after being locked in the parlour crawled up my spine. However, unlike the time in the parlour, this door unlocked itself easily when I turned the knob. I unlocked it and slowly opened the door. Beyond the door, I could see the dimly lit hallway and a cat dashing down it away from me. Then it stopped, its emerald eyes glittering in the darkness, as though it was waiting for me to follow. The hallway was dark and wrapped in an eerie silence. When the black cat saw that I was coming, it walked forward as if guiding me. I could hear nothing except the creaking of the floor, the bell of the cat, and the sound of the storm outside. The party's being held in the hall. I should be able to hear at least a little of the noise from this hallway. Maybe it got really late when I was unconscious in the dining hall. It was a reasonable conclusion. Then we finally reached the main hall. The hall was frigid, and no trace of that party remained. Could all that fun have been just an illusion? The black cat's bell rang out. When I looked up, I saw that it had its feet on the stairway to the second floor, urging me to follow it. That's me. You going to the second floor? The black cat seemed to nod, then silently went up the stairs. Guests were allowed to go wherever they wanted on the first floor, but the second floor was Krause's family house, and I remembered getting in trouble for trying to go up there. However, at that moment I couldn't think of any options other than following that cat. I walked along the dark hallway with the black cat. Eventually we reached one of the doors. The black cat scratched at the door, then turned to look at me. It must have been telling me to open it. Okay, I'll open it for you. I put my hand on the doorknob and felt the resistance of a lock again. This door's locked. I turned around to tell the cat this, but inexplicably, a single key lay right in front of the cat. Angie picked it up and stuck it in the keyhole. As she did, she finally noticed something strange with her fingertips. Blood. Somehow Angie's fingertips had been stained red with blood. She let out a short cry and the key slipped out and fell to the ground. She finally realised. In the darkness, she hadn't noticed before. The black cat's key was covered with blood. The emotions that had gone numb in Angie sprang back. A terrified scream rang out through the dark hallway. Even so, Angie would eventually open that door. That door led to Natsui's room. Natsui's room was a terrible mess. Blankets and sheets were torn. Cosmetics and books lay all over the place, as though a typhoon had just ripped through it. And they were corpses. Krause and Natsui's corpses lay sprawled on the floor. Very shortly, Angie will step into this room. She will then scream in terror once more. And it isn't limited to the dining hall and Natsui's room. In the stormy rose garden, Shannon's tragic corpse lies exposed. Partway down the path to the rose garden is Jessica's corpse. When Angie finds that, she'll probably dash crying and screaming into the guest house. And death awaits her inside the guest house as well. Just inside the front door is Nanjo's corpse. In the servant room nearby, even Goda and Kumasawa lie dead. The total number of corpses is 13. A full 13 corpses are waiting for Angie. They wait in the mansion and the guest house on this desolate Rokkenjima. For Angie, exposed to the wind and rain and tormented by thunder, to find them. Oh, okay, so it's really skipping through the actual deaths. We've seen it all so many times, I guess. Not exactly like this, but you know, we've experienced a load of deaths over and over, so yeah, that seems to be where we're ending it. I don't know where they're gonna go. Are they gonna try and explain away now all the deaths? The first Twilight. Yeah, I think they are. The 6 in the dining hall, first of all, by looks of it. So, this has been Greeny XI. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in a bit when we start checking out the deaths themselves. Thanks again for watching, folks. See you again in a bit.